Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and as you can tell, it's a hot day right now here in South Korea. But that does not matter because we've got a really hot new little car from Kia. It's called the Seltos. It's a small, compact crossover SUV that slots in right above the Soul and right below the Sportage. And we're gonna see how this little number from Kia drives right now on AutoIndustriya.com. So we're finally aboard the new Kia Seltos. Now that name sounds very different, and Kia actually named it after, I believe, the son of Hercules in mythology. Kind of cool, if you ask me, but also very, very strange and somewhat, quite different. What surprised us the most with the Seltos is the way the interior feels. I can say right now that it's very Germanic. It's very premium for what you're expecting, what you would normally expect in a class like this. I mean the leather is artificial, but it feels great in the hands. The navigation system is great. The design, this dual screen arrangement with this 10.25-inch screen right here in the middle. Now the version we may get in the Philippines could be a bit different, but on the onset, the way they've designed the cabin, they've certainly put a lot of thought into it, and they actually gave us a very in-depth briefing over at the Kia Design Center just about a few hours ago. The Kia Seltos actually positions itself right between the smaller Kia Soul, which we unfortunately no longer have in our market, and the larger Kia Sportage, which we still do, and it's selling pretty well for what it is. A compact crossover SUV. This one is the slightly bigger model compared to the Soul. Now, what you get here, it seats 5 people. Of course, 2 in the front, 3 in the back. There's no third row. It's not big enough to accommodate a third row. But again, it's pretty spacious. It's got 498 liters of maximum cargo space in it, which is actually very good for a crossover of this size. That they can, get it to that kind of level of cargo space with something this really a small footprint. So the version we're driving is the one that comes with a 1.6 liter turbocharged gasoline direct injection engine. It makes 177 horsepower, plenty for a package like this, and it's basically controlled by a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. But the version we will get in our market is not gonna be this one, unfortunately. The one we will get is the one with the 2-liter non-turbo gasoline engine. Now, what that makes, it makes 149 horsepower, which is also actually pretty plenty. But the interesting bit about that package is that it will come with an IVT, or the Intelligent Variable Transmission. It sounds like another fancy way to say CVT, and it is a CVT. But what we've been told, and unfortunately we can't drive it now, is that that gearbox, or that CVT, simulates the feeling of a shift, I guess, bump, shock, something like that. We'll have to wait to try it, but hey, for now, we're liking the DCT on these roads here in South Korea. So we're over here in Jebu Island, I believe it's called. We're driving on a road that's actually underwater quite, when it's high tide. So it feels kind of strange to be driving here, but it's also kind of cool. Now, in terms of ride comfort, this is where there's a big difference between this all-wheel drive version Seltos versus the two-wheel drive version, the front-wheel drive version. In this version, you have fully independent suspension. That means the fronts are McPherson struts, and the ones in the back, it's a multi-link suspension, meaning if you hit a bump on the right, it will not affect the left. So it's much better for overall ride comfort. In the two-wheel drive version, that's changed. They've put in a torsion beam system, which, if you know your vehicle suspensions, it kind of affects the other side as well. But we won't be able to test that here, but that's actually the model we expect to be introduced in the Philippines. right here in the middle of the dashboard, you've got a 10.25-inch screen that Kia calls their new seamless system. Well, what that really means is that the edges are kind of rounded out, and it feels very nice. I mean, when you touch it, when you fiddle around with the buttons, you know, it all feels very, very luxury. Again, very German. There's also another screen here for your climate control and all those other functions, which is also, again, very nice. Where the Seltos really shines is embracing its, well, innate techiness. Of course, you've got your standard, you know, cruise control, you've got your lane keep assist, all those, you know, smart safety features that you read about, but often don't really use if you're in our market because our traffic, you know, can't really handle it that much yet. But what this vehicle embraces, it's the millennialness. Did I just say that? At night, you can spot the heartbeat pattern from the position lamps up in front. It's quite cool. You've also got lighting, mood lighting, that follows basically the beat of your music as you play it inside the car. You can see that lighting right here on the speakers, the Bose speakers on this model. But what we really like with the Seltos is the connectivity package. For example, this is the first vehicle we know of that comes standard from a factory that is able to connect the two Bluetooth devices simultaneously. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, as a driver, you can have your audio, you know, I mean your audio or your navigation playing through in the sound system. But your passenger, which, you know, in most road trips is typically your DJ, they can connect their phone right as well simultaneously, and it won't disconnect your phone, so you'll still be able to make or take calls on the go to override the music, which is pretty cool. Now, this drive of the Seltos, it's not meant to be a full-on test drive. That will have to come later, because again, the version we're getting here is not the same as the one we're gonna drive in the Philippines. And they haven't finalized the full specs yet, but regardless, from what we gather from this model, we can already tell it's a very promising model for our market. We can't wait for this vehicle to come to our market, so you guys can try it out for yourselves at your nearest Kia showroom. Well, that was definitely a very interesting drive in the new Kia Seltos. It's a very interesting compact crossover from Kia, and we can't wait to have it in the Philippines. Now, our mix of driving today was a lot of traffic, a lot of highway, and a lot of winding roads. Now, all that really matters is for Kia to bring us in as soon as possible time, at the right specs, and definitely at the right price. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya. Thank you for watching, and if you like what we're doing here, please follow our YouTube page, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and on Twitter.